I wanted to ask you, who were you before Alan Dyck we can see on the social medias?
When I first started, I was 360 pounds. But once again, I still knew nothing about the gym. I knew nothing about cardio. I knew nothing about how to work out.
What was the first thing you said to yourself? Is this a diet? Is this a gym? Is this taking a coach?
Because I believe that no one can make that for you. You have to decide when and where.
They will imagine this, all right, the guy click, enter the gym, do a couple of months, and this happened. In fact, you and me know that there is a lot of work behind that. That's actually the very solid point of conversation, because Alan Dyck, when I landed first time on your Instagram profile, I saw immediately what you're doing. And I said to myself that one day there must happen to you and me have conversation about all and everything I want to find out about healthy lifestyle and about a lifestyle which probably nowadays everybody needs to live in order to live with less stress and healthier possible. For the very beginning, I wanted to ask you, who were you before Alan Dyck we can see on the social medias?
Well, that's an interesting story because I look nothing and I act and I am nothing that I am today. When I first started, I was, 350, 360 pounds, big fan of all fast food, Reese's Pieces Buttercups, all the things that tasted good, made me feel good, but that weren't good for me. And every single person has that time in their life when they reach their rock bottom or whenever that is for them to be like, oh shit, I better do something about this, or where am I going to be in X amount of years? And for me, I was working at a semi-fine dining steakhouse in Edmonton, Alberta. And it was crazy because we had 2 floors. Whenever they put me on the bottom floor, I had to go get drinks at the top floor. Well, because I'm such a big guy, I had to walk up the stairs, grab the drinks, and come back down. Well, shit, as a big guy, it takes you a while to collect yourself and catch your breath. And people would make fun of me, but for some reason, that wasn't the moment. Fast forward another, little while, we lived in this loft in Edmonton. And once again, there's stairs up to the top where the bedroom is. The bathroom was only so big, and I had to literally sit sideways because I couldn't fit in it like a normal human being. Once again, not my catalyst, not my reason for stopping, just wasn't my time. There was one specific day where I was getting ready for work, and we have these slip-on shoes. We have these dress shoes we have to put on. And I had this technique that I used. And basically what I would do is I would inhale, I would breathe all my air out, and then I would put on my shoes because I was so big in the midsection, I couldn't do it properly. Well, there was one day that I couldn't put my shoes on, and then I just had a mental breakdown. And I was like, this is the day. I can't go past this. And so I just turned my hat backwards and said, fuck this, time to take my life back.
It's very
powerful. And ever since then, well, it was such a, my wife at the time, we were together for 20 years. She supported me no matter what, loved me no matter what. But it was just, I had to get to a point in my life to be able to make that change, because I believe that no one can make that for you. You have to decide when and where. And basically what happened was 2.5 months later, I was down 170 pounds and just thought, you know what, it's my mission now to make as many people feel like they're supposed to, as opposed to how I did, with zero confidence, depression, and loneliness, even though I was married.
Yeah, and you see, this proves one thing, that always happens some very big pain, which leads us to the different direction. This is something what you and me spoke even before this podcast. But I want to ask you, in that certain moment, you realize you cannot put your shoes on. What was the first thing you said to yourself? Is this a diet? Is this a gym? Is this taking a coach? What was the first thing you wanted to do, the first step to make to start that change?
Well, honestly, the first one was, I believe my eating habits have to change. You are what you eat. However corny it is, you are what you eat. And I put nothing but shit in my mouth. And I felt like it, looked like it, and it was just upsetting to just be in that space that I was. I just knew I had to change something with my nutrition. And the crappy thing about it is I knew nothing about nutrition. I knew that chicken was healthy and vegetables were good for you. So I just combined the two of them and it started to work. But once again, I still knew nothing about the gym. I knew nothing about cardio. I knew nothing about how to work out. walking into a gym, being a big guy, whether people are actually looking at you or not, as a big guy, you think every single person is staring at you.
Absolutely.
And that's how you feel. And no one can make you feel any different. And so I would say, other than changing my eating habits, but then walking into a fitness center for the first time, that was probably the hardest thing I ever did in my entire life.
And this is very interesting because it relates to me a lot. First time ever I entered in the gym was when I was 32, quite late for nowadays people, right? And I remember myself, I'm the guy who is very good in business, who make a lot of money in sales and closing the deals and leading several companies even before this online business. And I was still feeling myself even ashamed. How will I perform on the certain machines? So I took my phone, go back in the corner, check on YouTube, first check the name of the machine, Gladiator, how to do exercises on Gladiator. Then I'm checking what people doing and trying to recreate this. And I know exact that feeling. Now when people see you, especially people who are watching on the video, this podcast, and they see how jacked you are and how you look absolutely amazing, they will imagine this, all right, the guy click, enter the gym, do a couple of months, and this happen. In fact, you and me know that there is a lot of work behind that. So can you let me know time lapse from the moment you start realizing you cannot tie your shoes until the moment you can see first time yourself different? How long it took you and what did you do behind the food?
So when I flipped that switch and said something has to change, I literally ate chicken and tomatoes for 2.5 months. When I went to the gym, every gym has a circuit, and it's for people that really have not a big introduction to the gym, but there's a little picture, shows them how to do it. You get on it and you just kind of go through the circuit. That's all I did for 2.5 months, along with 2 hours of cardio a day. And so in those 2.5 months, I lost that 150, 160 pounds, but I did realize that even though I felt better and I looked better, I still looked through the same eyes, which was really hard. But for me, I knew that if this is something that I wanted to do and something I wanted to teach, I knew I had to make it something sustainable, because no one on the face of the planet is going to do what I just did. But because I was at such an extreme, I felt like I needed to go to an extreme to get myself where it needed to be. So basically, after those 2.5, 3 months, it took me 5 years to develop a system that was sustainable, easy to follow, and you know what? Just like me, when I first started, not complicated. I overcomplicated everything, not knowing what one thing did it, because there's 1,000 people saying, do this, do this, do this, copy this, get on this fad, get on this diet, get on this program. And I disagree with that.
Yeah, and you're speaking 5 years. That's actually the very solid point of conversation, because most of the people would very easily overestimate what they can do in a short period of time and underestimate what they can do in a real long period of time. Here we're speaking about 5 years. It means a lot of ups and downs. One conversation I recently had, now it's very hard to remember with whom, but he told me like Michael Phelps used to prepare himself for the Olympic gold medal for 3 years swimming in the pool. And there is absolute zero chance that he was every single day motivated to go in the pool, do the exercise and exit the pool. But he still won the gold medal. My question to you is, over these 5 years, how many times you said to yourself, Alan, man, it's enough. Like, you did what you wanted to do. You don't need to go that far. Maybe it's time to give up. Slow down. Let it do it less pushing, less push-ups, less exercises, and kind of like to stagnate.
Well, over those 5 years, basically what I did is, because I knew that I wanted to jump into fitness and help thousands of people, and that's all I wanted to do, I have a huge passion for it. So over those 5 years, I actually developed a system that was easy and well maintained to be able to eat the right foods, still live a normal life, exercise, still go in the right direction, but just once again made it super simple for everyone to be able to follow, because that was the biggest thing for me. No one can sustain this forever without wanting to just off themselves, or just they're going to fall off the wagon. And once again, so many people, when they overcomplicate things to a point of they get frustrated, they just give up and they go back to those regular habits. I wanted to create new habits that were sustainable, that I knew I could teach and people would love.
Was your why in these moments to show to people that first you can change yourself and then you can impact on people, or something else?
I had to make sure that I could change myself, because every single thing that I've ever given to anybody over the last 24 years, I've done myself. Because if I don't know it's not going to work 110%, I can't call you out on knowing whether you're going to follow it or not. Everything I've given, I've done to myself.
You just said right now 24 years. Before that, you said 5 years. If people do the simple math, they will start assuming your age. Man, you're looking like 25 or 30. So come on, a little bit real with those numbers. A little bit real with those numbers. Congratulations, yes. Man! Congratulations. You look fabulous for this age, and like it's absolutely proof that you found a way how to slow down visual way of aging, and we're gonna speak about that. You help so many people to lose even over 100 pounds. What is the real key when those people come to you? Do they want to change? Is it a mindset? What leads them together with your strategy, or is just something that you start disciplining themselves in the way of what to eat, how to exercise, and what to do daily?
I would say it's a combo of everything. When I meet somebody for the first time, or I talk to somebody for the first time, I literally just listen. And after 10 or 15 minutes, I know exactly what to say based on the things they've said. And it's very important because not a lot of people actually sit and listen to somebody talk. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a reason why they're starting. Everybody has a reason why they want this as a specific goal. I need them to tell me without me continuing to talk and interrupt them. Once I have that idea and I understand where they want to go, it's easy for me to say, okay, our problem is you work too much. You don't care about your nutrition as much because, you know, you got to get out of the house at 6 o'clock in the morning. You've got 3 kids. You got to make sure your life is taken care of. You're busy or this and this. But it's my job, once I hear those things, to make it as easy as possible, because once again, so many people overcomplicate things to a point of, I can't even start. I don't know where to begin. So listening is so important.
What are the most common lies people say to themselves, even coming to speak with you and do something, and then they start with excuses why they cannot?
I don't have enough time.
Right.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that one is most common in pretty much every industry, because people are obsessed with saving time, that I'm really starting to question myself, well, like, what then you really do, what takes your time? And how much of those people are dropping off in the way that they do not listen or do not want to do what you tell to them due to their inabilities to believe in themselves in the first place, and how you deal with those stuffs?
My drop-off rate is very low because of the fact that I make it so easy and I simplify things so much that once they realize that they do have enough time and it's not that hard or that complicated, and then all of a sudden they feel 1,000 times better, they're more productive at the things they do during the day to maximize what they need to go and where they're going, changes everything they think.
Was there some people who were not believing themselves and you that they can make that change, and they did it?
100%. That's where he goes back to mindset. Mindset is huge, and somebody's mindset can either make or break. But being able to have both of them, I believe that, you know, it does suck sometimes because misery does love company. What I mean by that is sometimes in relationships or when people are together, if someone tries to make a change and the other person doesn't, that's where the part comes in where it gets hard. And so, you know, I try and tell my clients, once you start to do this, you start to feel better, you start to become a walking billboard, more people are going to ask you what you're doing. And it's easier to say no than it is to say yes. But you say no enough times and people are like, wow, I really like the way you look. Maybe you could talk to me too.
And this is very true. Here is why. I'm the perfect example of that. Me, 5 years ago, would never consider myself eating healthy, eating salads, or thinking about calories, or thinking about going to gym or taking supplements. Nowadays, I'm the first one. As soon as I see somebody in my family taking snacks or sweet, I'm speaking about spikies with insulin. I'm speaking about how this is not well, how this, how that. And then even my brother, when I chat to him, it was like probably even last week, he thought to me, wait a moment, but you was that one who used to drink a lot of soda drinks and energy drinks. And I said, sure, man, but I changed. So I want the same for you. And this is where it comes, all that momentum. I realize it on myself. Once you see the results, you start changing. But there are things which I must tell you that are probably hard. And I want to speak about them. One of the things that's hard is to have support. Support in the family, that they truly understand what you're trying to do. And they're living every day with you. they're those ones who very hard see results. They may see them if they compare photos. I know when I was losing my weight, my family used to say, like, where? You look the same. And I was every time disappointed. I was droning down, like, is it not true? Then I go back on the scale, check, and I said, but the scale said, and I said, no, it's not visible that much. How important is support working with clients from their families and from you and from the community as well, in order to they lead those towards these results and to get those results which they want?
It is the most important thing out of anything. You can have any personal trainer on the face of the planet, which a lot of them end up being like car salesmen. They've got the gift of the gab, but they don't have the results to make sure they maintain that, where people want to stay on. And after doing this for so long, support is more important than anything else, because once they trust that you're going to be able to get what they need, that support is more important because of the fact that it's a huge community. The people around you, the people that care about you, the people that see you on a regular basis, your employees. And once all these people start to kind of turn a corner and see that you're making a healthy choice for a better life, it's very addicting. But, with myself, I have a massive group that I run, and I call it like a fitness AA meeting, because it's crazy the support you have, but the people are willing to go and be vulnerable to a point where other people are doing that same thing, which makes them all in. And when you can let yourself go, especially as a man, and, either have a cry or have this or that, it's game, set, match when you have somebody else being able to say, you know what, we got this, we're doing it, let's go together.
That's interesting. And nowadays, when you look backwards to all your clients, success stories, to yourself, who is the most guilty for people fighting daily with obesity, and how dangerous this is? How dangerous is to not do anything about that?
I'd say myself, or anybody that's already been in the position of being there before. I knew that my vices were bad food, this, and this. I have two kids, a 10 and a 12-year-old, and I'm going to guess on maybe one hand they've been able to see how many times I've actually eaten dessert. I know my issue. My issue is food. And so I knew from a long time ago that I had to fill that void with something else. So I eat very healthy, but I also have things that I look forward to, because if you don't have things you look forward to, you're going to fall off the wagon. So, everybody looks forward to something different. It might be a double-double. It might be a Starbucks coffee. It might be a glass of wine. It might be a bag of 5-cent candies. It might be chocolate cake. Whatever it is that keeps you motivated and moving forward, that is the most important thing to keep somebody in line. And for me, I would rather once a week look forward to a glass or two of red wine than sit and have any bad food, because I know once I open Pandora's box, it's game over. And my old fat kid comes to play, and I can't imagine what that's like, because it's happened a couple times and I am like, what the shit.
What was the most things bothered you in the time when you was losing your weight and when you was going all the time to gym? Was there something what truly bothered you, except knowing that if you open a bag of chips or something, it's a Pandora box and it's going to harm you?
Something that bothered me is that if I didn't do this now, I don't know where I'd be in 5 years, because if I was as heavy as I was, out of shape as I was, it was only a matter of time before the inner part of my body was just a ticking time bomb, and I didn't know. And I wish that, I never want to say I wish I could go back, but I wish I could go back with the knowledge that I have now, because I would be a very different person, because we have a lot of different tools nowadays to find out what's actually going on from the inside out. Back then, you were just unhealthy. And so either you made a change or you didn't, but we didn't really understand what was going on.
What are the biggest threats, do you think, that people have if they do nothing about their weight? Just continue their lifestyle and giving themselves excuses. It's genetics. My mom or my dad are the same overweight, or whatever excuses they give to themselves. What are the biggest threats? Silent threat.
I would say the biggest ones are, I'm big boned, or I have a thyroid issue, which only 1% of the population on the planet do, or, this is just my family genetics, or, I'm predisposed to be this way or to be unhealthy. And it's crazy that a lot of those people in that position, like my ex-wife's family, Her mom, they didn't really eat that healthy, and she died at such a young age. And it was sad because, little changes can make a huge drastic impact. But sometimes when people are stuck in a position of, this is what I've been doing for the last 20, 30 years. This is what my mom and dad did for the last 20, 30 years. This is how we cooked. This is how we learned to cook. This is how we continue to cook, without physically actually trying to make a change at any point in time, you will just live the same path. Someone has to break that fucking mold.
Very much like it, because I'm that one who did it in my family, and probably the only one in entire family going backwards who did that many changes and changed all the patterns. And I know one thing is that people are also very much not aware, at least where I come from, I'm originally from Serbia, people are very much not aware of what food threats do they have, because they believe that everything prepared at home, it's healthy, no matter of the way of preparation. They do not question the way of preparation. And here is the example which I want to bring with you and slowly to enter in the topics of food. I grew up very close to my farm. My family used to have a farm. We produce a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, and as well we had animals. The months of August and September are the months when we're preparing something we call winter food. A lot of jam, fruit preserves, and a lot of other pepper relishes and other dishes for the winter, as well as pickles and so on. When it comes to jam and the fruits we're preparing it, man, there is some rule. If you're putting 10 kilograms of a fruit in the pot to cook them, you're putting 10 kilograms of a crystal white sugar. Back that time, we like a kids growing up in such a families, we were just waiting to this jam be done and hot to be put on the piece of bread, immediately put it and eat it, and we enjoyed because, yeah, it's sweet, right? But let's go a little bit now towards the science. It's extremely unhealthy. And people are not even aware why it's unhealthy, because they don't aware the threat of sugar and of other stuffs. I want slowly to enter this topic, and you tell me, what are the biggest food threats nowadays in supermarkets or open stores and open markets? What people are not aware, but they're still very much using it.
Honestly, the number one is fat-free and diet. People assume that because it says fat-free, it doesn't have any fat in it. They don't realize they jack up the sugar. The sugar still turns into fat. Another one is diet or aspartame or 0 calories. If it says 0 calories, what makes up 0 calories? It's got to be something. It's called a chemical. The body doesn't do well on chemicals. And so when the body doesn't get the right amount of calories that it needs, it holds on and it never will let go. What I mean by that, if you just continue to try and eat low-calorie foods or, diet foods, the body will stay stressed out. The second it gets the right amount of food it needs, it relaxes and lets go. But because nowadays people assume that diet this, fat-free this, sugar-free this, 0 calorie this, it doesn't have any calories, therefore I'm going in the right direction, is it a complete misconception.
Can you give me a couple of examples without naming the brands? What are those food types?
Any form of pop that says diet. So I will tell you this, if you had a regular pop that had sugar in it, is that sugar the greatest for you? No, but the body at least knows how to recognize that sugar and at least do what it needs to with it. When it consumes a diet pop and it says 0 calories, the body doesn't know how to get rid of the chemicals that's in it, and it stores it in your fat cells. And it's a very hard way to get it out. And so the body doesn't need those chemicals. But once again, somebody might say, okay, well, a regular pop will have 250 calories. A diet pop has 0. Why wouldn't I pick the diet? Visually, you see those calorie numbers. As a regular person, I did it back in the day myself, loved Diet Pepsi because it was 0 calorie, drank a ton of it. Was I doing the right thing? No, but I just didn't understand why. So I tell my clients, you're better off if you're going to do this, which is not necessarily all the time, have the one that has more sugar in it, because at least the body can recognize it and utilize it the way it needs to. Now, obviously, if you're having 30 of those a day, there's an issue. So there's always an extreme to every conversation. When it comes to actual food, food is huge, like yogurts. I get very frustrated because nobody should be consuming dairy. Dairy causes inflammation, irritation, and rash in the body. And as of 5 or 6 years ago, was finally taken off the Canadian Food Guide. Now, if I was living in different places of the world where, Europe and other places where dairy is actually pure and it's not filled with a ton of shit, that's a different story. But we live in Canada and the States, and it's very different. And so they put on fat-free or this and that, and you're just like, okay, well, fat-free is good. That means it only has 100 calories per serving. But then they don't show you, or you don't read that they jack up the sugar, and the sugar still turns into fat. But once again, just having somebody give you the insight, the knowledge, and the education to look for that is a big deal. But not a lot of people do. I'm included because I was right there for a very long time thinking I was doing the right thing, which turns out I fucking wasn't.
It means literally that if we go for a diet milk or a diet cream cheese, we're literally harming ourselves, because what I'm trying to picture is that you're saying our body, it's not built to recognize such a chemistry which due to process made this be diet cheese or diet cream cheese, right?
You got it. Body needs whole foods. It recognizes whole foods. It understands. When you look at the back of any label, I tell my clients, when you look at the back of any label, you should understand what's in most of it. If you can't understand what's in most of it, don't put it in your body.
Exactly. And here is the thing, that protein yogurts are a very interesting topic. In every single gym all around where I live on the Canary Islands, they belong to Spain. They're very much controlled by Spain government. They belong territorial to Spain. They speak Spanish, right? Every single gym, it's offering a range of protein yogurts, 20 grams of protein, 15 grams of protein, this and that. You're here speaking that humans who want to take care of their health and healthy lifestyle, they should get rid of dairy. When we speak about dairy, what dairy we speak? All in global, or some of them, especially which is heavily processed, like, for example, cheese?
I think that this is where I really get frustrated. I don't believe in artificial preservatives, flavors, or colors, because it's just that. It's a preservative. It's meant to let the food last longer. So if you're going to consume something that's meant to last the food longer, and I'm going to consume it, it's now going to be inside my body. So, for myself and what I practice and what I preach on my group and to my clients, I say, okay, well, once again, if you can't understand, you can't recognize the name, don't consume it. When it comes to protein powders, protein bars, and that kind of stuff, there's a fine line, because I don't consume protein powders and protein drinks that way. I do whole foods. I'll use egg whites because I know that they're a little more on the pure side. I don't like to do it the other way. I don't recommend my clients do that. But at the end of the day, if they're going to pick that option as opposed to picking fast food, we're still going in the right direction. It's just not necessarily exactly what I'm recommending. But once again, being able to read the labels, understand them, and to have that education is a huge tool.
Very interesting topic. Protein powders, when it comes to whey or any other form, which people are usually mixing with water or with almond milk or any kind of other soya milk or whatever, how they do reflect to our body, and are they actually giving to us more of the beneficial side, or we're having more of the problems, considering that they're still pretty much close to the dairies? People mostly mix them with yogurts, milk, and other dairy products.
And that's where the problem comes in. It's like, okay, well, you take a protein shake after something specific, or you have a protein shake in the morning, whether you add matcha, fruit, this, that, you can add foods that taste good. But once again, people are just creatures of habit, myself included. They add the things they know are going to taste good, whether they're good for you or not. But they think, okay, so the second I'm adding a protein powder, I'm taking what I think may or may not be good for me, but I'm adding protein, so now it's good for me. So, hey, it's once again that misconception. And when it comes to protein powders, are there good protein powders out there? Yes. But the body only absorbs so much of any kind of powdered or supplement. When it comes to whole foods, the body absorbs 100% of it. So for me, I'm more of the mindset that if I'm going to eat something that I know my body's going to utilize wholly, I'm going to go that route. I'm not going to utilize something that my body's going to take a third of and then either store the rest and make me feel like shit, or just, get rid of it in any which way or fashion it has to. I want quality over quantity any day of the week.
We're pretty much coming in the fact that the food industry, healthy fitness food industry, it's a little bit lying to people, considering the marketing tricks in the way, like, to we be triggered, okay, that's dairy, that's free, sugar free, this free, that free. And I still remember 2018, I was that time in the business of import of high-end luxury food and beverages from Europe to China. My business partner back that time took a can of chips, like a tube of chips, and this was some super healthy chips. And on the entire label was written free of this, free of that, free of this, free of that, with literally 15 or 20 free elements. And I remember he was reading, and said, "Mate, this is such a BS. They're first of all tasteless, and second of all, wait a moment, how they can be free of these?" And it was some element which literally we only have it in the meat, not over there. And we understood in that time, like, wow, they're doing all and everything to pack up those labels with as many free elements, even though that basically chips free of protein. Yeah, sure it is, because it doesn't have any, right? When it comes to fitness industry, we're having a lot of these healthy stuffs, protein bars, electrolytes in the bags, shaking with the water, all these stuffs which are very much available on the market, and people are literally crazy for them. Especially drinks like colorized drinks, which are called hydro drinks and electrolytes and so on. I would like to speak a little bit about that, and you tell me your opinion about this, and where should we pay attention? Are there any good, and how to recognize them?
I have a hard time trusting many people now, unless it's myself making my own food or buying my own food. I believe that the organic food that we buy now was probably the food that we used to get back in the day, and the food that is not organic is the stuff that is now simulated and GMO'd. And I understand that, everybody wants to make money, but I just don't believe why they want to make money that way. Because if you can do it in Europe, where you can eat 100% healthy and it goes in the right direction and everybody feels good, feels fine, and their energy is good, then clearly it can be done. And so I get very frustrated with this when it comes to, like I said, electrolytes and stuff, where they're putting out commercials and posts and stuff where you can have this drink, have this whatever, because it's got this much electrolytes. Electrolytes is a pinch of salt in a little bit of water, and have a banana, and now we're good. But that's as natural as it gets. That takes 2.5 seconds. But people, once again, either they don't have the education, or you are right, the other way tastes better. So it just depends on what you're looking for and what kind of results you want, because everything that we do today matters 20 and 30 years from now. And that's the biggest thing, is people don't realize, myself included, when I was sitting there dummying 100 Reese's Pieces Buttercups at one time, not understanding what that's going to do to my body 30 years from now and all the shit that's in it. And so that's where I come into play, and I have to educate to say, okay, well, once you have an educated decision to know that if you do this as opposed to this will hopefully be the outcome at the end of it, or you'll have a better time or chance fighting off cancers, this, which are in so much food when it comes to dyes and sprays. And like I said before, preservatives, artificial. Whenever you see artificial means chemical. So it's like, I got to do my best to give them the right tools to decide what they want, because when they're 65, that's when you want to live a life, because you just worked your ass off to retire, and then you retire and now you don't feel good.
Alan, you're bringing a topic which again reflects to me, and this is the taste. I'm that one who started taking collagen, and the first one I ever bought, it was completely plain. It tasted very terrible. And then I was the first one who was looking in the health store where I'm buying my supplements and vitamins and minerals, and I was asking, do you have any collagen with a flavor? The guy over there told me, I do, I'm just not sure you want to go that way. I said, why? He said, I have this one with lemon, but it's completely artificial sweetener. So if you check on the back of the label, you will see that this collagen has sugar. And I was like, oh, okay. Then I checked, and I said, okay, that's interesting. I took the other one. It was with watermelon. I took the other one. It was with strawberry. And all of them were still collagen itself, just flavored with something else. I didn't want to go fully into that. I decided to try one. I took the smallest package. I tried it, man, tastes beautiful. Like, I simply wanted to have it. But then I realized, yeah, but there is some narrative from the history, from my childhood. Everything would taste bad must be very healthy for me. So then I flipped back to the ones without flavor. And yep, I'm now on them thinking that and feeling that they're fine. I want to ask you, in this industry, when it comes to supplements and vitamins, do we have their cheating in the way of flavor cheating, which still can be harmful for our body, or our body can drop in the situation to doesn't know how to process it and what to do with those?
100%. 1,000,000%. You just said it right. I'm very happy that this guy told you exactly what he told you, because he understood what he was saying, even though he had to, have it on his shelves to sell. It was a very good thing that he said, because you know what? Yes. Will I say the stuff that is super healthy for you doesn't taste great on its own? Yes, but that's when you have to learn how to make it, how to prepare it, how to cook it. So it's not just you sitting there cooking up plain chicken, throwing it on a plate, eating it and being like, wow, this sucks, but I know it's good for you. You have to be able to make things taste good, because going back to consistency and longevity, no one will follow anything that they don't want to consistently do on a regular basis if it's going to taste like shit. But when it comes to, yes, any kind of supplements and stuff out there nowadays, cookies and cream, and like you said, strawberry and chocolate, and don't get me wrong, do they taste good? Yes, they do taste good, but everybody has to realize that stuff that tastes good, when it's like that, do me a favor, don't take my word for it. Read the back of it. Just read the back of it. And when you have, and when you have words you can't pronounce, don't understand, and have to look up on your fucking phone, that's the issue right there. You can take a protein shake, add a half a cup of egg whites, which is 120 calories of protein, add a half a cup of fruit, some matcha, some cinnamon, and throw in a little bit of, you can take avocado and cocoa powder, and it literally makes chocolate pudding, and blend it up, and it tastes amazing. And that is a very healthy shake. But once again, always comes back to education, and proof is in the pudding. If you see somebody else doing it and they have the energy, and you understand that it might work for them, all they have to do is see that, try it, and once they do, they can tell instantly how they're going to feel.
Yeah, and there is much noise about supplements, vitamins, minerals, proteins, all those stuffs. I want to ask you which one you stand for, and you can say there's something we need, and why do we need them?
All right, so creatine is one of those ones that was kind of a hit and miss back in the day, because, the creatines that you used to take, it would bloat you up, it would make you fill up with water and this and that. But nowadays, I do believe that there are good creatines out there after, the age of 37, 38, 40, where you can take, where they actually give you a little bit of energy here and there. But I only recommend powdered vitamin C, calcium and magnesium, and baking soda. And that's the only 4 supplements that I recommend on the face of the planet. The reason why is you can't overdose on vitamin C. Vitamin C can take care of inflammation and stress levels. And so every single person has a different stress level on the face of the planet, regardless of what they do for a living. You'll take X amount of vitamin C every single day, and you'll keep upping it until you know exactly where your stress level needs to sit to make you feel 1,000 times better. My big thing is, when it comes to calcium and magnesium, bones in the joints, at nighttime, I literally have a sleep concoction where you take a little cup of water, you take a teaspoon of powdered vitamin C, which is 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C, a quarter teaspoon of baking soda, mix it up together, it'll fizz. You take 2 to 3 calcium and magnesium pills. And what this does is the calcium and the magnesium actually calms the bones and the joints down all at the same time. But the vitamin C and the baking soda shoot it through your system. It de-stresses the body and lets you relax. And so what happens is your whole body, after an hour or two, just gets really calm, and then you can go to sleep. And you can stay in REM sleep a lot faster. I trained a blood doctor for a very long time, and he said a lot of the supplements that people take are just a waste of money. And it's crazy how much we get focused and stuck on, this vitamin is good for me, this vitamin is good for me. Well, a lot of people don't necessarily do the research to understand whether it is or not. And I believe you can get so much from whole foods and actual quality good than you can from a lot of vitamins.
It's a very interesting topic, because most of the people recommend vitamin D3, and you haven't put it in that stack. Is there any reason why?
No, I just don't. I've been doing the same thing, like I said, for 20 something years now. And my goal is to get better with age. And for me, my clients get a DEXA scan, which is, you get your blood drawn, you get all this stuff done every 3 months to make sure that you're working well from the inside out. If all those numbers are going in the right direction, then clearly what we're doing, from eating the right amount of fish, the right amount of this, I base all your food on blood type. So whatever your blood type is, those are the foods that you're going to consume. And so when you eat the way your body is supposed to, I believe, and once again, proof is in the pudding, that your body will, perform at an optimal level, plus all your blood work and all your things will come back perfect. And if they continue to do that on a regular basis, I feel it's a win.
It's an interesting thing which you said right now, blood type. How certain blood types reflect towards certain food. Can you give me a little bit of example to that?
Yes, and a lot of people have mixed feelings when it comes to blood type. And I'm going to say this out loud, and I don't care. I don't believe in keto. I don't believe in, carnivore. I don't believe in a lot of these fads that people are doing, because they're just that. They're fads. When you can do something like the keto program, you can lose a ton of weight because it works really, really well. But in order to live a nice, sustainable life that you're happy about, that is a very hard way of life. Because the second you're not on keto, now you're fucked. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, honey, I wanted to have a glass of wine with you, but I'm going to gain a ton of weight because it's not on. That for me is not a sustainable way of life. And so when I created my program 20 something years ago, I made sure the body has X amount of protein, X amount of carbs, and X amount of fat, but I base it on your blood type. Now, when I say blood type, my blood type is O. Whenever you consume a food and it's foreign to the blood, so like for me, when I'm gaining weight for a show, I'll eat oatmeal. My body doesn't like to metabolize oatmeal. It gains weight on oatmeal. What I mean by that is when you eat food that's foreign to the blood doesn't know how to disperse it properly. Okay, it sends out insulin to attack it and to be like, hey, this is where we're going to go with it. And so what I've done is you take that same oatmeal and you switch it for a rice meal. And all of a sudden, the same calories back and forth, my body knows how to metabolize rice meal, sends out insulin, attacks it, and does what it needs to. And now you don't get those stubborn areas of fat anymore. And all of a sudden, your body is performing on a level that you had no idea it could do. It's almost like you see clearer. You're more visually like alert. And that is a big deal.
This is absolutely new for me. My blood type is O positive, and I'm now thinking like, wow, am I eating something what's not related to my type of blood, so that I'm actually harming myself? And you're going to go deeper like that.
A lot of people think that, eating chicken, rice, and vegetables are good for you. And you're right. They are good for you. Like when I first started this whole process many years ago when I was losing my weight, okay, I know chicken's good. I know vegetables are good, and it worked. But once again, you might need that chicken to turn into turkey. You might need that turkey to turn into white fish because of your blood type. You might have to stay away from strawberries, but then add in this. And it's these little tweaks that make a big drastic change. And once you understand them, because you're like, fuck, I ate really well, but I feel bloated. Not knowing this one vegetable can cause that for you. You take that out, now you feel great. For me, that's a better experience, and not having that, wow, I don't feel good, but I just don't know why. I hate that.
Is this the same for man and woman, or it's different?
Same. So in my group, everybody bases so I've got basically food, they've got their blood type, they have their options, and when they see their blood type or when they know their blood type, they make sure to stay away from specific options, and it's a game changer.
What's something that people mostly believe about the gym that you disagree with?
The more time you spend in the gym, the better and further you're going to advance yourself. Bullshit. I believe that everything in moderation. When you're going to go to the gym, you don't need to spend hours there to go in the right direction. And if you're going to spend hours on a piece of cardio equipment, you might as well blow your brains out, because it does not work. Yes, you can sweat, but the body needs to be pushed in different ways and for a shorter period of time to maximize what it needs to do, where it needs to go, so you can recover at a better rate.
How important is this recovery time, and how often you should go in the gym?
Well, it really depends on someone's goal. So, when I have somebody that's just starting out, that's never worked out before, I start them off at 3 days a week. And so, we go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, throw in a couple cardio days, nothing crazy. As you start to advance, you need that progressive overload. That 3 goes to 4. That 4 goes to 5. And ultimately, depending on, once again, your goal and where you're going, that goes to 6. But you have to make sure the workouts are coinciding together. So you're never working the one body part too many times. So you allow your body to recover. And that's why I said that sleep aid, because if you're not sleeping, you're not recovering. If you're not recovering, we're overtraining and we're going backwards.
So which basically means that we should train one group of muscles per one day? And
No, not necessarily. You can, as long as you're training, whatever group of muscles you're training are given a couple days to recover before you hit them again, we're going in the right direction.
Cool. Let's speak about the oldest sport ever, athletics. I'm always connecting it with running. People are nowadays obsessed with making steps. We are having it everywhere. On the smartwatches, on iPhone, 10,000 steps, 5,000 steps, 12,000 steps. My belief somewhere, as someone who used to hike a lot, I used to hike even the highest peaks of Balkan and to spend even 2 or 3 days on the mountains, very high mountains. We're speaking about 3,000 meters above the sea. I think that our legs are built to walk. And I don't somehow connect, making 10,000 steps a day, how effective this is in reality. I would like you to give me a context of this. Am I mistaken? And how do you see that, actually?
I think that, having those apps and having the ability to track someone's steps is very important, because I believe that, with cell phones and the way the world has gone, people have gotten lazier. And so being able to say, okay, I need to get X amount of steps in is definitely a huge positive and a huge move forward. And especially for those people that have a hard time getting off the couch, or they work in an office job where they're sitting all the time. So when they know, all right, I've got to do 10,000 steps a day or 15,000 steps a day, that is a huge improvement from where they were before. Do I necessarily use it when it comes to my program for people that are kind of now getting into fitness and are already into fitness? No, because once again, the target, the timeline, the zone, and the duration that we're going to do are going to be very different than just saying, hey, hit 10,000 steps. So I do agree with the fact that they implemented this to allow people to get off their ass and be healthy, or at least be active and make sure they are.
And when it comes to fitness in the way of cardio versus heavy weightlifting and actually the exercise on the machines, can you give me an idea what is the best for our body in order, if we want to lose the weight and get in better shape? What better perform, if we go more with the cardio stuffs, or if we go more with the machine and heavy weightlifting, or combination, and how actually to combine those stuffs?
That's a really good question, because so many people have this misconception that they have to spend a lot of time doing cardio. Obviously, they have to hit the weights, but once kind of going back to what I said before, people tend to spend too much time in the gym. And so it's good having the combo of both, but never focusing on the cardio as that number one, I need to get 2 hours of cardio in a day. So cardio is for heart healthy, getting rid of lactic acid, good for the skin, that kind of stuff. But you know what? For a lot of my clients, I don't base our weight loss and how we go in the right direction just on cardio alone. I might do 15 to 30 minutes a day because it's good for your heart. But what I do is when I build a program for somebody, I build our workout like a cardio workout at the same time. So that way we're never really stopping. We're moving, we're going. So at the end of your workout, it's like you did cardio as well. For me, that's more important, especially as I get older, for longevity. Do I have clients that sit and power lift and do those kind of things where they need to rest longer and they're not going to sit and do as much cardio? 100%. But as I get older, I want to be in the best shape possible and feel the best, look the best, and have the best amount of energy with the least amount of injuries. And that for me is more consistent and sustainable than, hey, I lifted a ton of weight and now I'm hurt. So people need to realize that, having a combo of both is great. If I had to pick just one, I would always pick weights. And the reason why is you'll burn more on a session doing weights. Also, for the rest of the day, your body will burn calories. If you just do cardio, the second you're done that cardio, you're done burning calories for the rest of the day. And the leaner the muscle you have on your body, or the more muscle that is showing, the more your body burns calories just being alive.
Beautiful. I love that theory because I'm not the person who loves so much of cardio in the gym as well. And for me, telling me that, I feel myself, okay, cool, Nick, you're going the right way. But here is something else I would want to ask you. When it comes to choosing the right weight in the gym, some people are saying if you go with lower weight, you are going much more into real strength and power, but not into building a muscle itself. So it kind of sounds to me like your muscle is going to be strong, but not that visible. If you're going with heavy lifting, you're making a very visible muscles, which are by logic as well strong. And then when it comes to, I see the personal trainers over there in the gyms training girls, they say to them, oh, if you don't want to become masculine with arms, you better keep with the low weights. How true this is, how much of myth this is, and how do you see that as being for so many years in that industry?
All right, this is a very easy question, and I will choose my words wisely because I would usually swear with this one. So when it comes to women, you cannot, the average woman puts 2 to 3 pounds of muscle on in an entire year. The average man puts 4 to 5 pounds of muscle on in one entire year of training.
Wow.
So think about that number.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
It's a big difference. So when the body, because the body has slow twitch and fast twitch muscle fibers on it. What that means is we need a combo of heavy, medium, and light in order to cover all those ranges and grow properly. If we don't eat to grow, we won't go anywhere. If we don't eat to lose, we won't go anywhere. So when I talk to women about, lifting, the heavier we lift within reason, and I don't mean 6 to 8, I mean just like push the muscle, exhaust the muscle, as long as we've got good form, you're not going to put on muscle that fast. What you're going to see is the fat diminish, and you're going to get to see the muscle that you have. So they need to realize that the harder they push, the heavier they push within reason, the leaner they're going to get, the more muscle they're going to get to see. But when they have an understanding of that you're only putting on 2 to 3 pounds of muscle in an entire year, it's a complete game changer. Wow. And especially for guys, it's like, guys will be like, hey, I want to put on 15 to 20 pounds of muscle this year. Well, it's not happening. I have to let you know that. And that's why at 43, I've been doing this since I was 23 years old. My very first show was 167 pounds. I literally looked like a walking crypt keeper. But now I sit at 220 pounds, but it's been 20 years of hard work. And so once they realize this, it's an easier conversation to have. And what I try and tell people is, let's get as lean as possible, especially for men. Let's get rid of everything so we have a six-pack. This is our problem area in our midsection for us guys. If we have a small waist and a six-pack, it's easier to go and start gaining weight, but in the proper way, especially for women. If you can get a woman down to where she's comfortable in her own skin, likes the way she looks, her confidence level is through the roof, and she's sitting around 19 to 21% body fat, she looks amazing. It's better to get rid of the weight than hold the weight and try to put on muscle, because at the same time, at the end of the day, you're just going to keep putting on a little bit of fat. And so basically where I'm going with this is the training has to be set up to cover all bases, but the nutrition is the most important thing at the same time.
I love the answer, because we are coming to the basics and that we are what we eat, actually. Alan, when it comes to cold showers, there are multiple different and abstract topics. I know the people, and some of them will be on this podcast, who are obsessed with cold showers, cold plunges, and I would like to hear their stories as well. But recently, I'm seeing more and more ads where people are saying that cold showers are causing kidney stones for some reason. And then, yes, you're having a cold shower, which might benefit in your nervous system and in the way of clarity, focus, and everything else, but it can cause a harm in your kidneys, creating somehow or chemical way kidney stones. Is this true or false? How real this is, and how cold showers are actually beneficial for us?
Okay, I have not heard of the kidney stones, and it's very hard for me not to have heard something when it comes to this. So I've never actually heard of that. Well, I will say that, anybody that is prone to kidney stones, all they have to do is take a drop or two of vitamin K3, and it's really, really beneficial, and it kind of takes care of that. But when it comes to cold showers, cold plunges and stuff, There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. You do never do it after a workout because you lose all your gains that you would have achieved in that workout. What I mean by that is when you work out, you're getting blood to the muscle, you're ripping the muscle, it's burning, it's that. The second you get into a cold plunge, it takes all that and it throws it away. It decreases all that. So you want to wait. That's why first thing in the morning is very important to do something like that. I would say cold showers, cold plunges are great for the body because what it does is it slows down the blood and then it increases the blood and produces new great blood. So I would say cold plunge, cold showers are very, very important. But no, I've never heard of the kidney stones associated with just yet until right now.
Yeah, recently these ads are very much popping out all over the social media, and there are fire and war in the comments. Like, is this side
well,
right?
It's so good for you. It takes care of so much inflammation and the body, and that's why I come back to vitamin C. So with the vitamin C, I'll do that 3 times a day with vitamin C throughout my day just because of stress levels and inflammation and stuff. And inflammation is huge. And like, again, you are what you eat. So when you eat foods that don't cause inflammation, that don't have specific types of bad sugars, but they have good sugars, cancer can't live in those areas. And so that's why it's very important to do that kind of stuff. So yes, I would definitely recommend cold plunges. And, just to add to this, there is something that, because we all get stressed out 300 times a day based on what we do, the littlest thing can kind of set someone off. A really cool trick or hack for that is cancer can't live in an alkalytic state. It can live in an acidic state. And so what you do is you take fresh lemon, extra virgin olive oil, and pure apple cider vinegar, and you mix them into a container. And at breakfast, you have a swig, at lunch, you have a swig, and at dinner, you have a swig. And every single time you do that, regardless of when you got stressed out, it'll put you back into an alkalytic state and it'll bring you back to normal. And so it's very important to do those kind of things because you never know when you're going to get stressed out.
Which proportions we're speaking about and which size?
I would do a whole fresh lemon, probably a tablespoon or two, a tablespoon and a bit of extra virgin olive oil and a tablespoon and a bit of apple cider vinegar. So it's just a swig at each meal. Yep.
Very interesting. Thank you for this advice. When it comes to red light therapy and saunas, what's your opinion on that and how does it show in performance way? Have you ever used it to your clients, I guess, and how beneficial this can be?
Once again, it's kind of like the other end of the spectrum from cold plunge. It's great for getting rid of toxins, feeling better, getting rid of any extra bloating and water retention and all this stuff that you have in your body. I think that once again, everything in moderation. It's just, I don't get frustrated, but I laugh when a new fad comes out or a new thing, and then everybody just goes so far in. That's the only thing they talk about. That's the only thing they do. It's been around for a long time, but guess what? If we could just do everything in moderation, we would be like Captain Planet and we'd be going in the right direction. So do I agree with it? Yes. Is there a time and place for it? Yes. Do I agree to do it every single day? Not necessarily. But once again, every single person's goal, their objective, and where they want to go are all different. Once we know those, we set that plan together.
That's absolutely brilliant because you're a real encyclopedia of health and healthy lifestyle, and I love it. I love speaking with you on all these stuffs, and the simplicity in the answers you're giving is literally giving to people no excuse to do or not to do certain stuffs. I want to go a little bit deeper into what you're doing nowadays and how are you helping people. So when it comes to trust the Dyck, and I read about this, can you tell me what's the story behind, and so that people can better understand it?
Basically it was, I spent 24 years of my life trying to help people understand things on an easier level and be able to realize that when they start something, they should start to see a result instantly. It shouldn't be weeks or months from now. It shouldn't be, holy shit, okay, I have to cook all these meals. I have to cook cauliflower this. I have to do this. I have to do this. And then it's too complicated. It doesn't need to be. Every single one of us have busy lives, and every single one of us has like 1,000 things going on at the same time. The more you make it a complicated event, the more people will just not do it. And so for me to be able to have that understanding now after all these years, to have put something together that clearly works for myself and all my clients, and it's I practice what I preached, and like I said before, all my clients become a walking billboard because they feel like they never thought they would before. They exude an energy like they never thought they would before, and it's a very addicting process that people just want to be a part of. And so, that was my number one thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to have people realize that they can get any result they want, and it doesn't have to be hard or complicated. And sometimes when I'm talking, I'm like, fuck, it sounds so easy. But because I've been doing this for so long, the littlest thing makes the biggest change in somebody's life when it comes to blood type, or when it comes to water, or, hey, don't spend this much time in the gym, or, hey, as a female, you should be eating more calories. And then they tell me to F off because that's not normal. But then once they do it, they're like, wow, I feel better. All those things make me happy, but in turn makes them be like, wow, I get to live a life that I've always dreamed of.
Very, very, very interesting thing. And Alan, is there anything your clients are that you feel that they can admit to you and working with you and share with you, but they cannot with their friends or their family? Is there
100%.
some point of that trust? Can you share with us what these topics are usually about?
A lot of the people that I end up taking on become very good friends. And so about 2 weeks ago, I actually just retired from training on the floor. So I've been working on the floor for 24 years of my life. And my life has changed a lot in the last year and a half. And a large majority of it is because of a guy named Dan Martell. And he gave me the tips and the tools, but I had to put in the work to get to where I am. And I did, and I listened. And so, that was hard because I've loved being on the floor. But listening to people talk I have a better relationship with most of them than I did even my own family, because I saw them more often. My thing was, I wanted to create a life that my kids they would love, but in turn, I spent too many hours doing this. Back in the day, I would work. I'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't come home till 7 o'clock at night, 6 days a week. And so I spent more time with these people here, and we developed a relationship that is damn near unbreakable. When they have that kind of confidence and that kind of, I can say anything and you're not going to judge me, it's a very big deal. And that's why I say to you, when it comes to the fact that I don't do that anymore, I just run my fitness group. It is literally the same thing, but with everybody in the same spot. And it's so cool because someone that starts can see where they're going to go to see where this person has transitioned, and then they talk about it, but they're so happy about it that it's a huge motivational tool at the same time. And so it's a great outlet along with a great support system that people just feel comfortable letting stuff go that they can't talk to even their husband or their wife or their friend, because a lot of people don't understand. If you're not going through it, you don't tend to understand. And especially in this industry, it's hit and miss how people are going to assume or take it.
That's beautiful. For the very end, I would like you to tell me, somebody who is listening to us or watching to us right now and thinking like, yeah, from tomorrow, I'm going to start this lifestyle, going to gym, maybe sauna, maybe a cold plunge, maybe some vitamins, supplements, whatever, changing the food. What would you like to tell them, and which message would you like to leave to them for the very end of this podcast?
My top 3 things that if everybody were to do, their life would change. Eat within 60 minutes of waking up, because if you don't, you burn muscle as an energy source. And guess what? When we just found out that either as a woman, you're putting on 2-3 pounds of muscle a year, as a guy, you're putting on 4 to 5. If you don't eat within 60 minutes, you're burning that muscle. So that's very counterproductive. Next one, eat breakfast. It's very important. It kickstarts your metabolism. Will you get hungry? Yes, but that's the whole point of it, okay? And make sure not to eat after 6 o'clock, and get ample amount of water and sleep.
That's very beautiful. Thank you so much, Alan.
It's simple, and it's the simplest things in the entire world. And I always go back to it has to be simple, because if it's complicated, no one will do it. And I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
Absolutely. And it's very, very, very beautifully said, because people need to know that power lies in simplicity. And this is exactly what you brought here. Thank you so much. Thank you for this conversation. And I really appreciate all your time and wisdom shared with me today.
Thanks very much, buddy.